So we've been getting some pretty good monsoon rains recently, and it's the end of August. Well, you know, back in June I did that experiment with desert senna. In April and May, all these trees were flowering and so forth. And you know, the funny thing is, because of the monsoon rains, we've got desert senna growing again, flowering again, starting to put out pods again. We've got creosote bush starting to flower again. Occasionally I see a Palo Verde tree or a velvet mesquite tree putting out flowers again. So it's kind of like nature's way of doing a second planting or a second harvest. If the monsoon rains come through when they should, when they're supposed to, and do what they used to long ago, these things will put out more pods and more food and keep feeding you, which is great. So I've been reading this, A Pima Remembers, by George Webb with 2 B's. It's put out by University of Arizona Press. It was first published in 1959 and has never been out of print since. And there are good reasons why. It's a recommended read. It would be curriculum if there was a Daniel Lionheart School of Awesomeness. So anyway, George Webb talks about this old man back when he was a little kid, Tashquint, and he refused to cut his hair and do all these things that the government made the Indians do in order to civilize them, right? They had to move out of their brush houses. They made little round houses out of brush, and they lived outdoors. And so those brush houses, it was well ventilated, and they would pretty much do all their work in the day and all their stuff underneath just a shade canopy built out of natural materials and so forth. And so this old man, Tashquint, refused to cut his hair. He refused to live into an adobe house, or, you know, a real house, you know, like the government tried to make everybody do so they'd be civilized and whatever. And those who did move into the real houses ended up dying of tuberculosis and getting diseases. And of course, those who changed from the old foods that they used to eat to the new modern good foods, you know, died younger, died of, you know, diseases that they had not heard of before, until the white men came. And so it was interesting that George Webb talks about Tashquint and how that he lived along the river in his brush house, and he didn't even mention that he cultivated, because the Pima cultivated corn and squash and whatever. But this old man lived the old ways, you know, of the Hohokam, you know, the people who are gone, the people who we're learning from, right? The ancestors of the land. He lived their way, the way that I'm showing you on this channel. He would eat mesquite beans and cactus fruits and cholla shoots, you know, those little, I've shown you all this stuff in videos. And so, you know, Mr. Webb says, but you know, when he was 115 years old, he died like everybody. So this man lived outdoors. He lived on foot, you know, he didn't have a car. He ate the foods that I'm showing you. He didn't go to doctors. He didn't have health insurance or, you know, any medical coverage. And he dies at a ripe old age of 115 years old, just like everybody else. And so start thinking, you know, that what I'm showing you is right. That it's not that this is another way you could live if you had to survive. Actually, the way that the old people lived, the ancestors of the land, in some ways, in many ways, when it comes to your health anyway, was a better way to live.